Okay, guys, so now sometimes you might get a graph, and it's very simple to see with a system of inequalities. But before we answer the question, let's understand what's the difference between a solid line and a dashed line. You see, there's two different lines you're going to see in inequalities. We can call the first one, which is just a solid line. And a solid line basically means that if you have a point touching on exactly on top of that line, that means you can include them. Solutions can fall or can land on line. So if I have a point on the line, it's also a solution. Well, what about this one? I call this one a dashed line. This one a dashed line. And a dashed line basically says if you have a point, let's say the same thing. If you have a point landing on that line, the solution is not part of it. Solution is not part of it. Part of the answer. And you know what? Let's not even call it a solution. Let's call it the point. The point. It's not part of the answer. So how do you know when it's a solid or a dashed line? Again, we'll talk about this more in detail, but when you have greater than or equal, less than or equal, that means it has to be a solid line, because when you say or equal, this line right here says it could be on the line. So with that logic, if you have less than or greater than, that means it has to be bigger. It has to be over here, or it has to be on the other side. That's basically what it means with a solid or dashed line. So with that in mind, let's look at this problem. This problem is asking for the point 1,5. I want to know if it's a solution for the system. Notice we have two lines because there's two inequalities. My solution for the green line is everything that is colored green all the way over here. My solution for the blue line is everything that is colored blue all the way over here. Well, let me ask you this. If I want a solution for both, where should my point land? If I want a solution for both colors need to touch. So if you guessed it right, my point should be on this area, because this is where the green and the blue touch. All right, are we clear on that? Well, let's look at this point then. When my x is 1,5, when my x is 1, when my y is 5, so I go to the 1, I go to the 5, that point. Is it a solution for both? No, because it's only touching blue. I need it to touch green as well. All right, is everybody clear on that? And a little tricky question for you guys. Would this point be a solution for both? Look at that one. Well, it's a tricky question because, guys, notice it's on both lines. So because this is a solid line, it's a solution for the green. But because the other line is dashed, we cannot include it as a solution. Had both of them been solid lines, yeah, you're good. But one of them is dashed, therefore we cannot do it.